Good morning, Facebook. Hello, Facebook. August 16th, Monday, August 16th. Monday morning. It is about 8:30 in the morning. Early morning for me here. I've been in the office just before 6 a.m. Doing a bunch of things. Actually, just doing one thing. I have 4 more chapters left in my new book on COVID and the restaurant industry and surviving COVID and actually growing your business during COVID. So I got 4 chapters of that left. I'm excited to get that up and going. I just haven't been able to focus as much time as I've wanted to on it. So if I get in my office early in the morning, I can devote a good solid 2 hours, hour and a half to reading, rereading. The book is written. It's just a matter of getting it finalized, going back to the editor for finalization, and then I have the forward is getting written very soon by a friend of mine. Gerald Salente is writing the forward on that. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I have my first speaking engagement for the book in September 20th in Orlando at a restaurant conference. So hopefully that will happen. Hopefully it'll be on. We just don't know. I haven't even booked my flights yet because you just don't know, right? But I wanted to talk about something that is open right now, that is open again, that has not been open since 2019. So it's super exciting that they are open again and rocking and rolling. And that is the Shadowland Theater, which is right next door to us. The Shadowland Theater, which is a professional equity theater. I don't even know when it was founded. It was 10 years before us or so. We were in 2003. They must have been in the 90s at some point, the Shadowland. It's a professional equity theater. It's 90 miles off Broadway. It's an amazing asset to our area, to our community. Really amazing asset. And they're open again. I'm not sure. The only thing I know is you have to show a vaccine card when you go in. And that's not the Shadowlands doing. That's the union. The actors union is extremely strict on that. They're probably stricter than the CDC. Their main focus is to protect the actors and actresses. So they're the ones that are demanding that. So if you go to any theater, that's probably what's going to be standard. And another friend told us that they're not even allowed to do certain plays in certain states just because of...
And they're not allowed to go to openings.
Right, the actors can't go to after openings. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. But the Shadowland is open and it is going, so that is a positive thing, step in the positive direction. So they're in the theater. They were actually in the original building right next door to the restaurant here. They will be doing one play this year around the corner in their other space. I think they're doing one play in their corner. I have to find out for sure. And of course, who knows what's going to happen moving forward with anything. So fingers crossed that we're moving in the right direction and moving forward. So that is good morning, everybody tuning in. Hi, Mary. Hi, Pat. Hi, Jennifer. Of course, Jamie's across the desk here. She's just logged on and dropped a comment. So check out the shadowlandtheater.org, I think it is. Let's see if I can drop a link to them. Here, Shadowland Theater. So if you've not been to the Shadowland in a while, they've gone through some great renovations in the lobby and stuff in the last 5, 6, 7 years. So shadowlandstages.org. I'll drop that link here and you can see their lineup. They're currently doing a Shakespeare play, and it's a comedy. And a lot of people said it's really funny. Good morning, Dawn. So there's the link to the Shadowland stages. If you're tuning in live or if you're tuning in on the replay, just drop a comment, #live or #replay. Drop a comment where you're tuning in from. That's always cool to see where people tune in from. If this is on YouTube, then you're definitely watching on the replay because this gets downloaded and then re-uploaded to YouTube, to our YouTube channel. So sometimes it's too much of a delay on YouTube, and sometimes information is old, like tonight's our wine dinner. So if you're not watching this on YouTube until the 17th, our wine dinner's over with. So our wine dinners tonight, we're doing 4 New York summer wines. 4 New York summer wines and 1 dish. Tonight's dish is a shrimp and white bean bruschetta that we're doing. So it's shrimp and white bean bruschetta with 4 wines. So the 4 wines are from New York. We have Long Island and we have the Finger Lakes Nothing that's about Long Island Finger Lakes. So that is what we're doing tonight. That's at 6:30. That starts. If you think about it, this is like one of the most amazing deals. You get 2 glasses of wine and a dish for $29. Really, really a good deal. A lot of people come just because it's 29 bucks and it's a great deal and it's a reason to get out of the house and come drink some wine. So it really doesn't matter what wine we're serving. Of course, you know all of our wine here is top notch. So I've started watching on Netflix the series Rotten. I'm not a big TV person. Jamie and I are not a big TV person, and I know some people just sit there and binge watch Netflix and go through all these episodes of certain series. Well, Rotten is right up my alley because it's on food. It is on food and just what's messed up with the food industry. And I watched the one on avocados. I watched the one on wine, and it's shocking. I know a lot of the stuff. I knew a lot of the stuff on avocados. The only thing I didn't really know on avocados is how many people in Mexico are actually kidnapped, killed, taken for ransom in the avocado industry. The cartels there are just a disaster. In fact, the one big avocado producing region in Mexico is on like the do not travel to list for Americans or for anybody because it's just such a dangerous place. They literally get kidnapped, killed, held for ransom, these avocado producers, because they know there's so much money in the avocado industry. So it's a shame what's actually going into avocados. And of course, avocados from Chile are not a good option at all because they have robbed all the water rights from the locals in Chile. And I talked about this last year. And even avocados in America would be the best choice, but water is an issue in California right now. Water is a real issue. So avocados might not be the most sustainable, best thing for you right now, or at least eat in moderation or cut back to help out with the water shortages. California's experiencing some major droughts again, and avocados take a lot of water. 16 gallons per avocado to produce, and if each tree is producing 500 avocados. I don't know if that's the case, 500 avocados, but it takes a lot of water to go into those. So you might want to rethink how many avocados you actually consume. I love avocados, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I love avocados. So, but yeah, pretty shocking on the amount of deaths and ransoms and kidnappings in the avocado industry. Let's see. The last one I watched was on the wine industry, the French wine industry, and all the violence in that too. There's just violence in a lot of this stuff. They get upset when some of these companies buy cheaper products, and some of these wine negociants are buying wine from Spain and sometimes mislabeling it, filling it in, and and the French are very deeply passionate about their own products. And when a negociant crosses that line and starts buying other countries and other things, or misrepresenting and not supporting them, they get very upset, and there's a lot of violence in that as well, and looting and all kinds of stuff that I didn't realize that was happening in the wine world. I did realize the amount of cheap wine being made. So here was an interesting thing. Here's an interesting statistic. Maybe I can pull this up here on my other computer because I took a screenshot out as I was watching this last night or yesterday afternoon. Jamie went on a hike, and I was able to watch a bunch of this stuff. So, like really cheap wine, folks, barely anything goes back to the actual producer. So let's see. Okay, so this was done in pounds, in European in English currency. The cheapest, like if you go to like grocery stores, and I've known this. This is why I don't like to buy wine that's in grocery stores. Grocery stores are so competitively priced that they beat up the producers. Like Walmart beats up producers. I don't know if you know this, but Walmart's, like if you buy a Samsung TV in Best Buy and what appears to be the same Samsung TV in Walmart, it's not the same product. It's totally not the same product. I mean, it looks the same, it's the same size, I might have almost the same remote or whatever, but it's a different product inside. And Walmart beats up Samsung, LG, whoever they're buying from, to say, hey, we need it at this price point. And we don't care what's inside of it or whatever. You need to make something at this price point, and we have to be cheaper than everybody else. And by the way, no questions asked. You have to take your product back if something's wrong. This is why Walmart has a great return policy, because it's on now Samsung, LG, or whoever they're buying from. It's on them to swallow that. And so these producers have to cut corners to meet Walmart's strict guidelines on price point to be America's, #1 box store. So that's what happens. It's like when you go into these stores that like Woodbury Commons, you go into like True Religion jeans, and everything in the store is made in China. And you go to True Religion real store, and like you find all the USA jeans, but there's like a big price difference. So they're making things specifically based upon the market it's going to, and everybody goes to outlet stores for good deals, right? So it's like that with a lot of outlets. And I walked into True Religion. I don't know. I have a couple pairs of True Religion American-made ones from years ago, and I'm looking for. Last time I walked into it, I'm looking for an American-made jean, and the guy's like, every jean here is made in America. I'm like, really? When did you change that? He's like, what do you mean? True Religion's an American company. It's an American jean. And he actually went to the labels. After a couple of minutes, he's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing made in America here. I'm like, yeah, it's not like the real store, is it? And he's like, I guess not. I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, because it's the market. You're cutting corners. You're selling a jean that's $80 instead of that's $280 or $200. It's just what happens. So it's unfortunate. And the wine, when you buy wine in a grocery store, these grocery stores are so price driven that they're putting so much pressure on the producers to make cheap wine that it's just not a good situation. It's not a good business practice. So in Rotten, this Netflix series, if you go into a grocery store and you spend £5 on a bottle of wine, hey Siri, how many US dollars is £5?
£5 British pounds is $6.93.
Okay, so a $7 bottle of wine. If you walk into the grocery store here in the U.S. and buy a $7 bottle of wine, which they exist, $7, $8, $9, if you go, 6% of that bottle goes back to the producer. The producer meaning the person growing the grapes, the producer. 6% of $7 goes back to the producer. That's nothing, folks. That is nothing. That's poverty. In fact, in Rotten, a lot of these guys are taking other jobs. One guy's like, I don't even make minimum wage producing grapes this cheap. I don't even make minimum wage for all the hours I put in this and that. I have to get other jobs. So now, if you spend £20, hey Siri, how many US dollars is 20 pounds?
20 British pounds is $27.74.
All right, so now if you spend $28 on a bottle of wine, which not many grocery stores have a $28 bottle because it's all price point. There are some higher price points. But if you go to a wine shop where the owner's picked out wines that he believes in, wines that come from smaller production, wines that come from family-owned properties, this and that. So at a $20 bottle, 35% goes back to the producer. That's a massive, massive difference. 6% versus 35%. 6% of a $7 bottle versus 35% of a $27 bottle goes back. So when people come in here and say, oh, your wine is expensive or your wine is this and wine, folks, I'm buying the stuff that more goes back to the producer. More's money is going back to the producer. They're crying that they're making minimum wage. And folks, this is how the wine industry works. And this is what I did this focus group last week, and I did a Facebook Live on this. I did a focus group last week with a bunch of other restaurant owners around the country, restaurateurs around the country. And it was all about how do you pick wines for your restaurant? How do you pick wines? And most of them are relying upon the sales rep to walk in with an extreme value and say, here you go, of what they're trying to push that month for their sales quotas, of which is probably the same wine that's going to the store for $7, $8, $9, $10, where there's a very low amount going back. It's not a real system. It's not a real system of economics, right? So these producers are mass producing. They have to mass produce. They have to cut massive corners. They spray chemicals. And literally the pictures of these negotiants, these co-ops. And co-ops are not a bad thing altogether. But some of these producers, like you picture a vineyard. When we take you to Italy on a vineyard, on our vineyard tours, Paul's saying there's sound issues. New mic. No, it's not a new mic.